Hi everybody, and welcome to this short little video to just cover a couple of topics. I basically want to talk to you about references and citations on your assignments and your discussions so that you can maximize your points. And it's real simple. The university says that you need three references on every assignment. That's for associates, bachelors, and masters. And at the master's level, if you do just three references, I'm going to tell you that's minimum work, and you're dancing with a C. If everything else is great, just because the depth of your knowledge is not going to be that great, you're not going to have demonstrated that you could take new knowledge and integrate it and synthesize it and produce it as new thought. And that's what we look to do. That's how we assess learning, and that's why each assignment is really an assessment. So what's the magic number? Well, number one, always use your textbook, and make sure that the textbook, you're heavily using that as part of your citations. If I've given you additional textbooks that you can use or a resource, take a look at them and use them. You should have one resource from the Full Sail library. We want you to get used to using an online research database. But for a master's program, you should probably be between 5 and 10 references on every assignment you turn in. Now, you might be able to stay closer to the 5 if you're really doing a good job with the textbooks. So keep that in mind. But there are going to be some assignments where you're going to need to push the upper limit, 10, 11, or 12 maybe. So keep all that in mind as far as the references. And citations. Well, what are citations? Citation is you have an idea that you got from reading, or you're putting a quote in from your reading and you're putting it on a slide. You want to go ahead and identify where that came from. So if it comes from, for example, if you're in new media marketing and you're using Think Like a Rockstar, your citation would be Collier 2012. And then in the reference list, you would actually have the reference written out for Think Like a Rockstar, and what pages that you used and so forth. There you want to follow, and it just makes it easier so that you're consistent and you're learning to do some of this without relying on other tools. But I would use APA, particularly for the reference list. Citations, just as long as you're notating where the idea came from. But again, I use APA. It's what I used at Disney. It's what we used at Disney when we would make presentations. And it's just an easy standard. APA, by the way, American Psychological Association, anything related to education or business falls under psychology. And that's why we use APA. So in case you were wondering. All right. So we talked references. We talked citations. Let me also talk discussion posts. Now, discussion posts, oh, by the way, if you don't use the textbook, I deduct some points above and beyond whether I thought you had enough references or citations. You got to use the textbooks, okay? You can use Citation Manager, by the way, to create your citations. It gets you close, and that's what we're looking for, is close. At least I am. I'm not asking you to do a paper, so I'm not going to be super critical with regard to the proper APA standards. All right. That takes us to discussions. Discussions, a graduate discussion, the initial response should be at least 300 words. And then your response post should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 words. It could be more. Cover the subject. Here's what I used to do. And I want you to look at the screen, and I call it the R4 roadmap. Always read to understand what the prompt was, and then think about it. Reflect on it. Do I agree or do I disagree? So you want to then focus your research on that decision. Did you agree or didn't you agree? If you agreed, read through the resources that they provided and see if there's anything that you can build upon to add to the post. And if you disagree, I think that's where it gets really fun. Either I would use what the research that they originally provided, and then I would add to it to show where there's other and more important ideas that need to be brought forward. And that's how you respond. So you read, you reflect, you research, and then you write your response out. And it's all about whether you agree or disagree with what the other person wrote. And like I said, I always found it more fun to disagree because it created a dialectic, and that's always kind of interesting. Always do it from a professional standpoint. You don't want to be nasty, but show off your research skills. Show how you can read and interpret above and beyond what everybody else in the class is doing. So that's all I got for you. It was a quick down and dirty. Here's what you need to know about discussion posts, about assignments with regard to references. And by the way, I wasn't explicit here, so let me be. Even on your discussions, you need citations and references. Why? Because otherwise, it comes across as just you giving your personal opinion. And we can go to Facebook for that, right? You want to show that you've done the due diligence research and put it into the discussion. All right, everybody. It's Dr. John. That's all I got. Just a quick one. And best of luck to you as you proceed through the month. Bye now.